There are four main sales that you want to be able to make in your marketing before anybody will ever buy any of your programs, any of your products, any of your services, any of your stuff, period. And sometimes you might do this on accident and but not really knowing why a sale became so easy. But when you do this intentionally, sales become almost effortless. Because repeat after me, the stronger your marketing, the easier your sales. The weaker your marketing, the harder your sales. So I'm going to show you here in this video how to create stronger marketing. In fact, this is probably one of the greatest content hacks of all time because so few people actually intentionally do this. But you'll see when I walk you through this here right now that the greats do. And I want you to be one of the greats. So, what most people do wrong, maybe mistakenly, maybe I'm sure not on purpose. I'm sure nobody walks around being like, I just want to screw up today. Like they wake up in the morning like, please, for the love of God, let me just make so many mistakes. Let me do things wrong. So I'm sure it's not on purpose. What most people do wrong is they kind of just, they have no strategy. They just approach their content, they just approach their marketing, and they just spray and pray. They're just like, "Oh, I hope this works. I hope this tactic works. I hope this reel goes viral. I hope this promotion lands me tons of clients that aren't like pain in the asses or bargain shoppers. I just hope it works." And they spray and they pray. And that sucks, man. That's called weak marketing. And weak marketing makes sales hard. You might get a few people in here and there, but certainly nothing that could be predictable, nothing that could be consistent or sustainable. And this is in part one of the reasons why so many business owners, so many coaches, so many people, they struggle. They struggle with creating consistency and predictability in their marketing. They live in this feast or famine. And this is not the only reason. We can go into a whole friggin', we can do a whole like 4-hour video on that, which we won't. But one of the main reasons is this. So let's go ahead and break down these four sales that you got to make in your marketing before anybody buy any of your stuff. The first is you got to sell people on a new belief. A new belief. And so the new belief, people have to buy your stuff, is what I mean. And so if you think about it like this, and I believe Napoleon Hill, the Think and Grow Rich, is probably a great example of this, right? He talks about what we think stems from our beliefs, right? So we believe something to be true. So if somebody's like, I believe that I am an overweight person and that I will always be fat, if that's their belief, then their thinking is going to perpetuate that. They're going to think like an overweight person. So they are going to then feel like an overweight person. It's going to stem down into their nervous system and their energy, and they're going to feel like an overweight person, and they're going to take action like an overweight person, and their habits will be that of an overweight person, and the results will continue to be an overweight person. You see what I'm saying? And when they view your marketing, so you could take that same frame and apply it to whoever your avatar is, no matter what you do or who you're serving. But if you look at it through that frame, when somebody's reading your content and they believe something to be true that is a disempowering belief, that is, some would call a false belief or a limiting belief, but nonetheless a disempowering one. And you're in your content like, you can lose 30 pounds while eating pizza and tacos and shit. They're just not gonna believe you. Like it might sound good and it might be intriguing to some people, but it's like if they believe these beliefs that are rooted in their freaking subconscious mind, they're not going to believe you. And so I see so many people struggle with this, and they're just teaching at their audience. They're giving them how to do this, how to lose weight without dieting. And it's just like, you're losing most of your market because they want to believe you, but they don't believe you. Right. And even if they do believe you, or they want to try to believe you, they don't think it can work for them. And so we have to be able to implant a new belief into their mind first. So we got to get them to believe that. So an example of this is when I was in my online fitness business years ago, what I would say is it's not about eating healthy, it's about eating right. And that was a belief that I sold to my audience. I was like, because most of my audience thought that just eating healthy or dieting was what they had to do. to be able to lose their belly fat. And I was like, no. Is it working? They're like, no, it's not really working. And so I was like, it's exactly, you can eat eating healthy is fine, but people, they didn't know they were dieting. They were just like, I'm eating healthy. I'm like, you're dieting. And so I'm like, it's not just about eating healthy food. It's about eating right, eating the right amount of calories, right proportions. And we'll go into shifting beliefs in just a second, but I had to shift all of their beliefs, right? So my marketing was really strong with shifting people's beliefs into my new way of thinking that they aren't currently thinking. Like, you see what I'm saying? And so it starts to implant these beliefs in your marketing. It's so freaking powerful. And we'll go back to this in just a second, but I want to move on to the second thing. So you got to implant a new belief into your audience's mind. The second sale that you have to make is you have to sell people on a new identity. You got to sell them on a new identity. Going back to that whole paradigm, right, of what people believe to be true, what they think perpetuates their blah, blah, blah. Well, it roots in their identity. So if going back to the weight loss example, if somebody is like, I am overweight, I'm an overweight person, I'm an overweight parent, I'm a parent, I'm out of shape. That's what that's their current identity, right? I was at the Ninja Gym with my kids a couple weeks ago for a party. And if you're new to my channel, like, I've been on Ninja Warrior, like, I've done the ninja thing, right? Like, I'm a trained professional, I'm a trained ninja. Nonetheless, the parents there, I was like, guys, you should come on the ninja course with me. I'll show you some moves. I'll show you what to do. And they were like, oh, I would have 20 years ago, I would have done that. But now, man, I'm just like, it's just not me right now. And I'm like, homie, we're the same age. They're like 38. We're the same age. What do you mean 20 years ago? You're 18. No, like, I don't buy that. The truth is like, people start to take on these identities and they're like, oh, I can't, I'm too old now and this and that. And so we, in our marketing, have to be able to give people this new identity that they could step into. So when somebody believes a belief to be true, then you get them to believe this new identity. You sell them this new identity, this aspiring identity. And so for us in our coaching program, I'm constantly empowering people and showing them that they can become the sought after and in-demand coaches in their market. They can do this. They can own a niche. They can own a sub niche. They can't own a market if they wanted to. And I showed them the path to doing that. In my fitness business, I constantly was selling the path of, like, you can become a fit parent. You could become that example for them, for your kids. You could become the superhero. You could become the role model. Like, when I was out there doing Ninja Warrior in front of all the kids, and all of the overweight parents are looking at me and all their kids are cheering me on, being like, oh my God, you're amazing. Like, the parents probably feel like shit, right? Because it's like their kids are looking up to me as a hero when they could be the hero. Like, they can easily be doing what I'm doing, because if I could do it, they can do it. And so it's like selling that new identity to what people actually want deep down. They just don't think they can actually get it, but we got to sell them on that new identity, aspiring identity. The third sale is your unique mechanism. Your unique mechanism. I think it was Buddha. I could be completely off here, but I think it was Buddha that says the way, right? There's like the way. And every thought leader in history had their way, their unique path, right? We all have to have one. Mine now, our unique process, we have many of them over the years, but we have our in-demand coach system. We have a whole system, a whole model. We have our organic growth system. We have conversion content campaigns. We have our magic messaging makeovers. We have our unique way to help people get results. In my fitness business, I had the stubborn fat solution. I had our metabolic resistance training. I had our flex fuel nutrition. I had unique methodologies. Excuse me. I had unique mechanisms. We need to have a unique mechanism to get people to be like, huh. And we have to sell those unique mechanisms in our copy. Now, what we don't want is have our unique mechanisms be like Jason's way. Like, there's going to be some biases there, right? You got to have, you got to make it sound, because what our unique mechanisms should be are an accumulation of our experiences, our truths, and how we've actually got results. And all we're doing is putting a name on it. And it truly is yours. Like I didn't invent marketing. I didn't invent sales. I didn't invent working out. So it's like we're not inventing any of this stuff, but we're taking our unique experiences to how we got results and we're just putting a name on it. That's all we're doing. And what happens is it starts to perk people's ears up. They're like, I want to try that way. You see what I'm saying? And then the last sale that we have to make is sell them on the social proof. They've got to see that it actually works. I mean, you could talk a big talk, but you got to have social proof to be able to back it up. And how to actually bridge the gap for all of these, to sell the new belief, like how do you actually do this in your content? To sell the new belief, to sell the aspiring identity, to sell the unique mechanism, to sell the social proof, we want to use story. Using storytelling, using authority figure quotes, using like I often use Tony Robbins quotes. I just briefly shared a story on the Kids Ninja Gym to kind of like prove a point in my teaching. Using story to bridge the gap. So whether you're trying to sell people on this new belief, whether you're trying to sell people on your an aspiring identity, on the unique solution, use story to bridge the gap. And a lot of times your personal story can be the bridge. A client story can be the bridge. Like I could share a client story on how my client Trianka booked 36 calls, or how she got to, from like around 10, 15K per month to consistent 30K per month, being able to implement this stuff into her marketing. I could share that story. You can share, those client success stories. You can use metaphors and analogies that help solidify your point. All we're trying to do with these is to get people to believe. We're trying to influence people, right? Because people are being influenced whether we influence them or not. They're being influenced by social media. They're being influenced by maybe their neighbor or their spouse. They're being influenced every single day. We have to be able to use these tools to influence them to make better decisions for their life, right? To be able to help them, to give them more empowerment, to give them more inspiration. And so when you start to take a belief, like say eating right versus eating healthy, I would just share my story, or I would share a client story on how, my client Susie was, doing X diet. She was on Weight Watchers. She was on Whole30. She tried keto. She tried everything under the sun, and she had hired trainers. She had done everything, and she was at her wit's end. She thought like maybe this is just how life is supposed to be. This is just how my genetics are now, and I just got to like live with it. And then she saw a post from me, and she decided to reach out, like one last ditched effort to try to reach out. And right away, we got her calories dialed in. We showed her like, hey, you've been eating healthy, like you've been eating salads and apples, and that's amazing. But we gotta show you how to eat right. And so we showed her how to dial in her calories, her macronutrients, or her blah blah blah, right? Her food choices. And then we got her onto a progressive strength training routine to help her body like just turn into a fat furnace. And sure enough, within about 80-ish days, it happened. Like like her body was just shedding off the fat, and she was down like I think 11 inches and like 33 pounds of body fat. And I mean, she felt like, so you see what I'm saying? Telling the story, and I'm selling the belief within the story. You see? Now, caveat, and I think if you're listening to this, you're a good person, but always tell the truth. Like the belief should be your truth, and always tell the truth. Never, I see marketers do this, never lie to try to get your point across. It's always going to come back to bite you. Okay? Always tell the truth. And you would do this, you can use this story for any of them. Is the easiest way to be able to transition somebody from not believing it, or having their own limiting beliefs, or they're stuck in their old identity, or using ineffective solutions, to now believing your belief, or at least entertaining it, to wanting to step into being empowered to step into this aspiring identity, to wanting to try out your unique solution, or interested in hearing more about it. and to seeing the social proof and being like, oh my God, I'm in. So if you make those 4 sales in your marketing, you're going to start to have more powerful marketing. You're going to have more strong marketing, and you're going to see yourself just having way more inbound leads. You're going to have, it's going to be more effortless for you to be able to book calls and to make sales. Now, the caveat I'll say on the end of this here is you do want to make sure you have a system in place to be able to make things predictable. And this is where having like what I talk about a lot is like the conversion content system in place, to where you're actually intentionally putting out content that is designed to be able to generate dream clients and get them to raise their hand for stuff. Because as hopefully you know, if you watch any of my stuff, that if you don't say the right words in the right way, you're going to struggle to get people to engage and stuff like that. So you got to be able to say the right words in the right way to the right people to get them engaging. And when you have the content system in place that's designed to create demand, you start to get inbound leads. You start to get people to reach out to you. You start to get people to want to opt in for your stuff. And then it's so much easier to book calls. And then when you have what we call our long form content funnel, you start to be able to do a masterclass or a workshop or something like that. You're able to book calls in mass. So when you have a system in place behind this stuff, it just makes it almost effortless to be able to get clients. So I hope this helps. Let me know if you found this video helpful. Make sure to click that subscribe button and leave a comment letting me know what you thought. Love to hear what you took away. And as always, remember, your message matters now more than it ever has before. Don't be afraid to speak it. As always, be seen, be heard, and be impactful.